Hey everyone. I never buy new tie downs. Because I live on a main highway and pretty much wherever I go involves me going out onto that highway, I often find tie downs that have leapt off people's trailers or the back of utes. And frequently they've been run over a few times. So here's one that I got the other day. And rather than spend 20 or $30 on a pair of tie downs, it's much easier for me to just straighten this thing out, give it a wee panel beat, and get it back into service. I know I can do it, even though that it's just a little ball of screwed up metal snot at the moment. I can massage this back into shape and get it working within about 5 minutes. So hang on to your hats. I'm going to go as fast as I can, disassemble this, and with a variety of interesting tools, I'm going to squeeze it back into shape and hopefully give you a little bit of inspiration so that you can start recycling, rebuilding, repairing and refurbishing, just like we do here on Tiny House and Off-Grid Resources. Tie downs are held together with two little wire clips that get pushed through holes, one on either side. The first thing to do is remove those. Once you've removed those, I guess the next thing to do is get the thing at least straight enough so that you can pull out the winding barrel. That's in two parts. You'll see that in a moment. Now these are Aerofast tie downs, which are a New Zealand domestic brand. They're rather well made. I try to stay away from the Chinese ones. The Chinese ones tend to have a pressed steel barrel instead of a forged steel barrel, and you put any pressure on them and the whole thing's fold sideways and collapse. I do try not to use them. After pulling the two halves of the barrel out, there are the ratchet wheels, one on either side. They get taken out. And then we need to bend back these two clips. Bending back these two little brackets allows us to remove the... Now I don't know what these are going to be called. What should we call these things? These are the actual ratchet. They're the part that clicks in and out and engages on the ratchet wheel. Now that I've got it stripped down to the two halves of the bare chassis, it's just a matter of using a variety of different anvil-like tools and hammers to smack it all back into shape. This lower half of the ratchet assembly is relatively undamaged. It'll only take me a minute or two to get that right, but the second one, it's been doubled right over. It's quite severely bent, and being covered in plastic means that I can't get a decent whack onto it. I may end up having to cut the plastic off. Let's see, here we go. You can see that one side's doubled right back on itself. Real messy. As I straighten this, I'll probably find fractures in the steel that may need a little bit of welding. Yeah, as I thought, it's getting pretty weak. And because of the plastic covering, I can't get in there to bang that particular part of it that's got the nasty kink in it dead straight again. So a little bit of judicious slicing with a sharp knife, and I'll remove the plastic cover. Don't forget the golden rule, keep your hands behind the tool. Right, now I've got it down to its bare skeleton. It's a lot easier to get it perfectly straight. But as I feared, with all that bending back and forth, I have got a fracture in one side, so I think I might end up purposely snapping that off and resetting it. Which is good, it gives me a chance to show you another little skill. Now see this piece of aluminium that I've just put in the vise? It's very important that it's aluminium, because when I clamp something down to it and weld it, it means that I can get full penetration right the way through without it sticking to the metal underneath, because I can't weld to aluminium with a steel welder. So now just a light little dress up. Visual checking is important because these things can get a nasty parallelogram twist on them. You need to get everything at 90 degrees and make sure that everything's going to spin nicely once you reassemble it. So just checking that I've got my widths right. Need enough clearance for the ratchet wheel on either side, which goes between the two halves. And I've just selected another piece of wire because I did break one of the pieces of wire getting it out. And there we go. This last little ratchet pawl needs its end bar straightened out so that it fits through the return spring. And you just twist that and feed it between the two slots. Once it's in the two slots and running smoothly, then the little tag at the back can be bent back, and that puts pressure on the spring and makes the whole thing into a cohesive unit that shouldn't fall apart again. So this is the little tag at the back that I mentioned. I bent that back earlier so that I could disassemble the whole thing. That now needs to be pushed back to 90 degrees, and that retains the little ratchet slider. There are two of those. This one's for the other side. I now need to just bend its damaged tag straight, and the spring fits over that. And I assemble this back into its respective hole. And we're just about done. There we go. Clickety clickety, ratchety ratchety. Just bend those wire clips back into place and cut off the excess. And I've just saved myself about not $40, because for $40 you get a pair of tie downs, but that's a tie down worth $20 that I can now throw into the toolbox under the seat in the ute, and I'll have a nice selection for all the things that I pick up at the dump. Just snip off this tail so that it doesn't get caught. Do that on both sides, of course. And the ratchet tie down lives to fight another day.